I told my SIL to leave my house after she weighed my toddler just to check. My daughter Rosie is 2.5. She's healthy. Her pediatrician has said that at every single appointment without me ever having to ask. She's in the 65th percentile for weight, which her doctor says is right for her height and build. I have the growth charts on my phone. I know exactly where she lands. My sister-in-law Dana has never once agreed with that. It started when Rosie was around 8 months old. We were at my in-laws for a Sunday dinner, and Dana watched me spoon some mashed potatoes into Rosie's mouth. She said, kind of offhand, "Oh, she really goes for that, doesn't she?" I let it go. She was a baby eating food. That's what babies do. At Rosie's first birthday, Dana watched her eat cake and said, "She's going to have her mom's love of food, I can already tell." I smiled and walked away. Told my husband about it that night. He said Dana didn't mean anything by it. Just Dana being Dana. The comments kept coming after that. Every few months, something new. At a cookout last summer, Rosie was running around in her swimsuit and Dana said she was solid and that some kids just carry weight differently. Rosie was 18 months old. I told my husband again when we got home. He said Dana had her own stuff going on and not to take it personally. Around the holidays, she sent me an article about healthy eating habits for toddlers with no message, just the link. So I didn't say anything. I kept it to myself. I let it keep happening because he asked me to, and because every time I brought it up, he said I was reading into it. Last Saturday, Dana came over around 11 in the morning. She and my husband were supposed to go look at a car he was thinking about buying, but the seller canceled, so she just ended up staying for lunch. I went upstairs around 1 p.m. to switch the laundry. When I came back down, Rosie was standing on the bathroom scale in the hallway. Dana was crouched next to her, one hand on Rosie's shoulder holding her steady, looking at the number. She had moved the scale from our master bathroom, which is off our bedroom, all the way out to the hall. She looked up at me and said, "I was just curious. I wanted to see where she's at." I stopped at the bottom of the stairs. I said, "Did you go into our bedroom to get that?" She said, "It was just sitting in there. I only wanted to check." I said, "Check what, Dana?" She stood up and brushed off her jeans. She said Rosie had seemed a little heavy to her lately and she just wanted to see the actual number. She wasn't trying to make it weird. She was being practical. She'd read somewhere that early intervention on weight stuff was really important and she was just looking out for us. Her whole tone was like she was waiting for me to thank her. I picked Rosie up off the scale. I said, "Rosie has a pediatrician. Her doctor knows exactly what she weighs at every single appointment. You don't get to go into my bedroom and take my scale and weigh her without telling me." Dana started in about how she wasn't trying to start anything. She cared about Rosie. She was family. That's just what family does. I said, "I need you to leave." She looked over at my husband, who'd been standing in the kitchen doorway the whole time. He looked at the floor. She said, "You're being so dramatic. It's a scale. I wasn't hurting her." I said, "You have been making comments about my daughter's body since she was 8 months old. And now you went into our bedroom, took our scale, and weighed her without saying a word to me while I was upstairs. I need you to leave my house." She grabbed her bag off the counter. She said, "Fine. But you're going to feel really bad about this when you realize I was just trying to help." She walked out. The door closed behind her. My husband stood there a second, then said, "She's going to tell everyone you threw her out over a scale." I said, "Then she'll have to explain what she was doing in our bedroom." He didn't have anything to say to that. Dana texted me that night. She talked about coming from a place of love, about how she'd struggled with her own weight her whole life and didn't want that for Rosie, about how I'd humiliated her in front of my husband, how I'd overreacted over something small. I didn't answer. My mother-in-law called the next morning. She said Dana was really hurt and that I should consider that Dana meant well. I said, "Meaning well doesn't give her access to my bedroom or my toddler's body." She said, "She's been dealing with this stuff her whole life. She was just trying to do something nice." I said, "Weighing a 2-year-old without her mother knowing is not nice. It's not family looking out for family. It's a violation, and it's not the first one." She went quiet. Then she said she hoped we could all move past this. Dana's red receipts have been on since Sunday night.